Hello, I'm Dr. Sangeeta Saxena, co-founder of Enfold Proactive Health Trust. In this video, we are going to talk about what Enfold offers to corporates for prevention of sexual harassment at the workplace. We offer a series of awareness sessions. First one is for the employees. The second one is for the management, which could also be combined with the session we do for training the IC members. I'm going to talk a little more about what we do in these awareness sessions. So the awareness session, which is for the employees, is aimed at making them understand what constitutes sexual harassment under the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention Act 2013. We also tell them about what does not constitute sexual harassment, and then we go into what they can do in their interactions with their colleagues, such that it would not be falsely or it would not be perceived by the other person as sexual harassment. What has happened over the years is that a lot of men and women from different backgrounds are now working in the same workplace, and their body language, their way of speaking, communicating, touching each other casually on the shoulder is being misinterpreted sometimes because of very varied backgrounds. So we make them aware of that, and then we go into what would be the red flags that a person can look out for, and because sometimes we think of these touches as accidental, and so we distinguish accidental from intentional. What is an intentional touch and what is accidental? And then we go into, okay, so supposing you are feeling harassed, what do you do? So the idea is not to make it very litigious, litigating every time and filing complaints all the time, but to take some preventive action right from the very beginning. So we say, okay, if you feel that somebody is harassing you or you are not feeling comfortable with that person, then you say a clear no to that person. You tell them, I don't like it, please stay away, I don't like being touched at all, that's the way I am, or at home I'm like that. If you don't feel like talking to the person directly, you can always approach your HR manager and explain the things to them, and let the HR manager talk to the other person, explain how things can turn really serious if it is being perceived as harassment. And then most importantly, we tell the employees to document all this, to write a mail saying, yes, thank you to the HR manager, saying thank you ma'am for listening to me, in which I explained that I feel uncomfortable by the behavior of so and so person, and thank you for agreeing to talk about it. So in this way you have created a document which later on you can use and say, you know what, I had already called it out, and the manager was also more likely to follow it up and be serious about it. They are serious about it, but this way sometimes in the pressure of work they may forget, but now they will talk to that other employee. And then we say, okay, now if you do continue to feel harassed and the behavior is not stopping, then you can always approach the IC members. And IC members you can always approach. Even the first time round you can approach an IC member. We tell them who the members are, where you find their phone numbers, and where they are displayed in the office premises. But more importantly, we are encouraging them to report. But then, why do we have to encourage them to report? It's because traditionally in the Indian society, the way girls and boys are socialized, it's very difficult for a person to actually talk about sexual harassment, be it a girl or a man. They both find it difficult to come up and say, I'm being sexually harassed. So because shame and stigma is all that attached by conditioning from our families, from our societies. So we talk about that, and we explain how shame is not a part of the body, shame is in the behavior, and your honor and respect comes from the work you do, and your behavior brings you that. So in that way we try to encourage them, and we give them all the knowledge about the IC. We also have flyers that we give out. This would be given out to each section, which actually explains the entire act at a glance, the process of reporting, who can report, when can they expect some action, what are the timelines for the IC, and the management what it is supposed to do. And we also have a training material, because we understand that not everyone can attend this session and not everyone will retain everything that was said. So we have a training tool which we share with the company. It's a series of MCQs. So the company would send the policy to all its employees, and they would be asked to take this self-learning tool. They would answer the questions, and for every wrong answer they will get the correct answer. So it's a self-learning, and once they have cleared it, completed it, the company can safely say that yes, all our employees are well versed with the policy of prevention of sexual harassment. With that, we complete what we do with the employees. When it comes to the management and the IC members, their roles and duties are a little different. And besides covering all this, why people find it difficult to report and why we should encourage them to report, we also go into the processes. How do you receive a complaint? It has to be in writing, it cannot be a verbal complaint. Then what do you do? Does the entire IC come together, or can you have a subcommittee? Who is the external expert? When all the external expert is required to be there? How many meetings you should have, whether or not you have had a complaint. The mandate is that you have to have a meeting every 3 months and do some awareness sessions and do some activities around it. Then actually when the complaint comes, how do you call the respondent, how do you call the complainant, how do you record and keep a record of all that they're saying, how do you discuss, and then finally what you come up with, what are the timelines, what are the suggestions, what all can you suggest, and then communicating that to both parties and to the management, and the management what are its roles, how it has to support the whole process and make the workplace a better environment for everyone, rather than just look at how can I hush this up, because that often backfires. Once the media gets to know, it's really terrible for the place. And really, even if it is a high-level management person who is the respondent, the company's values should prevail over a person. So with that, we kind of complete all the requirements that are there, and we also ask any questions that they have, and we train them by giving actual case stories, because we have been in this field for the last almost 10 years. Because we want to make the workplace a safe place, it's not gendered. We don't say make it a safe place for women or have respect for women. We say it's gender neutral. We recommend that the policy of the company be gender neutral, and several companies have done that actually, though the act is only for women. So we recommend that it be gender neutral, because sometimes and increasingly we are finding the male employee feeling sexually harassed by a female employee, and it can also be sometimes another male employee sexually harassing another male employee, or vice versa, females. So that is what Enfold offers to corporates, and we have a system where we nominate one of our employees to be the permanent member, and because we have the whole NGO behind her or him, that member, in case they are not available, they're traveling out to the country or something like that, and there is a case, then Enfold steps in and another member is there temporarily until the permanent member can come in. So with each member comes the cumulative learning of Enfold over the last 16 years. Thank you.